Well, it's 6 o'clock. Welcome, everyone. Let's call this meeting to order and stand for the pledge.
Oh,
Pledge allegiance
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
liberty,
and justice for all. Councilperson Vargas Mendez.
Here.
Councilperson Buck.
Here.
Councilperson Dravis.
Here.
Councilperson Lamb.
here.
Supervisor Leifer is absent.
We had a meeting in New York City this week, the Association of Towns, and Jason went down for that on behalf of the town of Dryden and stayed.
Didn't come home.
You know what?
Didn't come home.
He'll be back. He's been in touch. We didn't lose him permanently to New York City. He's probably checking his options, but I think he'll be coming back. Rest assured. So. Yeah, my voice is a little weak tonight. Politician's worst nightmare. So I'll do my best to have this microphone closer tonight. How's that? Very good. All right. So the first item on the agenda is to approve the meeting minutes prepared by our deputy clerk, Lauren Sparling. They looked in order to me. Any comments or
Look lovely.
things to add? All right.
Councilperson Vargas Mendez. Oh,
Yes.
you need to move in a second. Who seconded it?
I'll second.
Okay. Councilperson Vargas Mendez.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. All right, the next item on the agenda is one that I think some of you may be aware of, is our local law to define data centers and cryptocurrency facilities. And this is something we've been working on for months. And we're going to open the public hearing on this at, looks like 6:02. And in 15 minutes, we can hold a vote on it. I think most of you have probably had a chance to look at this already. Our approach to this is, to define it. A lot of folks have some ambiguity about what a data center is and what crypto mining is and cryptocurrency. So we worked with our planning board over the summer, and actually they started working last winter as well. I'm a liaison to the planning board, and I want to thank them again for all the research they did in helping us promote good definitions for these items, which we now have in the resolution. And the way this works is that the local law defines it, and we very deliberately don't put it in our use table. And if it's not in the use table, you can't do it. And so I think it's pretty clear. I don't think we could do anything more unambiguous in terms of what we allow in this town and what we don't allow. So that was our chosen method, and it's something that the town board worked on and discussed with our town attorney. And we concluded that this would be the most efficient way to address the issue in the town. So if you're wondering why it's written the way it is and why we don't just say the town of Dryden bans X, Y, and Z, it's because, we were concerned that some high-paid lawyer would come and pick apart our language and find some sort of way to find a fault with the language, as opposed to the use table, which the use table don't lie. That's what we like to say. So that's the intent there. And I know some of you might be here to comment on that, and we'd love to hear your comments if you want at this time. Anyone in particular, just come up and please state your name and your address and let us know your thoughts on this legislation.
I'll go first. I was expecting Jack Wright to be here, and he may come in.
He's behind
I
you.
think he is here.
I didn't see you. I know that you do this.
You both, you can both stay up and,
Go for it, Maurice.
That's what you get for sitting in front.
Good evening, Jack Wright. I live on 7 Lee Road, and I'm here tonight as the chair of the Climate Action Committee. Similar to a couple meetings ago, this is something that the Climate Action Committee has discussed, and we were looking over the local law as written, and all of the members present at our last meeting voted in favor of me expressing our support of the local law as written, banning data centers and cryptocurrency mines, with the exception of our town liaison and planner,
Right.
planning board, or planning liaison. So I want to voice our support on behalf of the Climate Action Committee for this ban, and thank you all for the time and effort that you put into this. We do appreciate you making an effort to not only protect our environment, but also to protect the driving community in terms of energy affordability and noise pollution and a number of other concerns that we listed in our previous public statement. So thank you all, and I appreciate it.
and we want to thank you for your close look at this legislation, and I know you were concerned about some words that were in an original version concurrent with your discovery of that. Ray Berger was looking at this and working with our attorney, and we had made revisions as well. So the original version that had or use defined as section 270-3.2 is removed in this current version that we're passing tonight. And you guys are very sharp to notice that. Good for you.
And the current version is shared on the web.
Yeah, that's on our website, so it's clear what we're voting on here tonight.
Thank you all.
Yes, Mr. Weinstein.
I just, David Weinstein, 51 Fries Road. I want to thank you for doing this. I'm unfortunately involved with the nightmare that's happening in Lansing, and I'm very thrilled that our town is taking steps to avoid us getting involved in that kind of issue. So thank you.
Hey, while you're up here, I want to mention one thing. A few weeks ago, you came and presented on unique natural areas.
Yes.
You gave us a very effective presentation. You followed up the next day with more information for me.
Yeah.
That information wound up in a meeting I had with our senator, and the Cortland Standard wrote about it and actually mentioned unique natural areas in the Cortland Standard as one of the concerns that we have about Dryden Lake. So I want to let you know that the work that you did got some print, got some ink in the
I'm
Cortland
glad
Standard.
it got to you.
Yeah.
You know, we never know if we're sending something, whether it makes it to you. I'm glad it did.
Thank you. Some other comments on this? All right, well, we're,
Hearing section.
So we have to wait.
You can leave it open and do something else.
yeah, I mean, I think some folks may be asking, why are we doing this? And I think our primary concern is energy use. I think we're all seeing the effect of rising demands on energy and scarcity and what that can do to energy prices. That was one of our driving interests in not having more of these high energy use data centers in our town, leaving less energy on the grid for the other purposes that we know that are there. So that was one of our concerns, but there are a number of other concerns as well, you know, in terms of what they actually return to the town in terms of value, their overall impression on the environment and the neighborhood where we were looking at where to put them. So we had a number of concerns about them that came up. All right, well, we'll come back to this in a few minutes and go through other aspects of it. So in the meantime, is there someone from the Dryden Agricultural Advisory Committee here to talk about your work? Or a few people, hopefully.
All right.
Great, how are you doing?
So Austin Beck, been sitting on the advisory committee for about 3 years now. So I'm here to represent the committee presenting a resolution for moratorium. As many of you know, Dryden as a town has struggled in the past and today to find a balance between affordable housing while protecting agriculture, lands, and open space. Really, that's our ultimate goal in the town, right? Protect the rural character of Dryden. So, we've seen the struggle that is planning and zoning and how to walk that fine line between not telling people what they can and can't do with their property while trying to maintain Dryden's goals as a community. And so, the advisory committee is presenting this moratorium because we feel that right now, as we rewrite the zoning in Dryden, there's an opportunity to develop some agriculture protection zoning. Specifically, to support those goals that we have. So promote the development of affordable housing in Dryden, but do it in a strategic way that aligns with our goals, yet also at the same time protects local agriculture, protects open space, protects the prime soils and the soils of statewide importance that we have here, because once we lose those soils, there's no getting them back. And so I think I speak for many people here and in Dryden that wants to see these goals met, right, as we all do, but in a way that makes everybody happy. So if you would like, I can read the resolution that we've provided. I guess I'm not sure what more you would like for me.
Well, I mean, we can go right into that. I mean, I think for the sake of the public and maybe some board members, what you're talking about here is some protections for land from development based on the value of the soil.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And making sure that we don't forfeit land to certain types of development from future farming uses. Am I understanding that? So will you be working, I guess one question I had, will you be working on a map that can help us understand what parts of the town will be
Yes.
protected and when might we see such a map?
Well, I think soils are tough, right, because there's so many types of soils.
Mhm.
And the easiest map from the research that I've done is the USDA maps of soils, right? So the New York, or the USDA maps will categorize them as prime soils, soils of statewide importance, prime soils of drain, right, and so on. And Dryden has that map and actually have it included in the comp plan.
Yeah, I know.
So the challenge is prime soils and soils of statewide importance cover a huge amount of the area in Dryden. And so just having a moratorium on those soils alone, or not a moratorium, but protection on those soils alone is extremely broad, and I think that will bring problems. So as we develop or hope to develop this agriculture protection zoning, there's been instances in other towns and other states where they've tied it to, you know, the location based on where viable farms are. They've tied it to the size of the parcels. They've tied it to the type of soils. So I think all of those details put into
Yeah.
this protection strategically can help us to get to these goals.
So, and this is me not knowing as much as I should, so full disclosure, I don't know as much as I should. My think is that the soils are gonna have been tested for farmland, but what about forested areas? Are those included in the land tests?
Are they included in the maps?
Yeah, because I'm thinking, I know that there's more and more like farming in forested spaces, different types of farming, people are doing mushroom farming and all sorts of things like this. But I also, as we go through this process for the next few years, I hate to see us start deforesting land because we're protecting farmland. So the balance there across the board. So I'm just wondering if, I also saw this really amazing presentation a few years ago from this guy from the UN on soils and on a global scale, how quickly we're losing quality soil. Like, it's almost more of a risk than climate change with how
Yeah.
quickly we're losing soil. And that places like New York State are one of the areas that back in the mid-1900s was one of the best examples of actually saving soil by doing all the tree plantings and all of that. So I'm just wondering if it's only farmland that's being tested or if it's more holistic.
I think in this case, we're talking about agriculture protection zoning, you know, which would cover the open, currently active farmland. But I think there's many people in the conservation board and others in Dryden that want to see protection of other unique areas, wooded areas. So I'm not sure that would fall into this protection zoning specifically, but I do believe that that is an important part of this.
So we would need to process this a little bit further, develop more, an argument for this, and I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I just think that we need to see how this impacts any sort of pending projects, and not necessarily. I'm not thinking of anyone in particular, but I know there are some. But I guess one of our concerns is what about areas where we want development closer to, our nodes, so to speak. Where we're trying to focus development. I guess I want more time to look at the maps and see what that looks like. So this resolution is just asking us to look into this. Is that correct? Or
This resolution is asking for a moratorium for a period of 18 months while the committee and the zoning board or whoever needs to be involved to develop some agricultural protection zoning so that we have some structure to follow, some zoning to follow, some strategic plan to drive. That's the ultimate goal of the resolution. And I think it's really important that I state that it is the Agriculture Committee's goal to find a happy medium between the development of affordable housing and protecting agriculture. So I think it's extremely important to focus on those nodes that you speak about, developing in those areas that have the potential that makes sense versus other areas that are, located right near dairies that are big acres, efficient acreage, prime soils, that kind of thing, right?
yeah, where it might not be such a good fit.
Right.
I'm with you on that. I guess my concern is that this might, I think we need to hear back from our town attorney whether we can do something like this without opening ourselves up for some sort of lawsuit. Because this is sort of a power move that towns do when they're out of any option to stop a project, right? To impose a moratorium. And I would want to hear from our town attorney whether we're in a place that we can justify, given the process of our zoning rewrite, to impose an 18-month moratorium.
And he would need to prepare a local law to do that.
We need to do a little more. We can't do this on the fly here tonight.
Sure. No,
You-
I
okay.
understand. Yeah.
All right, that's
That's
where
not
I'm.
my intent.
That's where I'm easing you into this, because I wasn't sure where you were going with this. So, yeah, we need a little more research time. I think we're open to the idea. When I discussed this with Jason earlier in the week, we were talking about the need to really compare this with a map of, what areas where we want development could be affected. and, you know, how we can make those compatible with areas where we'd prefer not to see development
Well, I
near, you know, big, you know, animal operations like yours.
This also is in alignment with nodal development, where you consolidate houses, so you
Yeah.
maintain that green space, so it makes sense that.
I know I said the word nodal, but we're not supposed to say that word.
Why?
It's too wonky, but, you know,
Okay. It's a transportation phrase.
I
so-
know,
okay,
but-
sorry.
real people don't use that word.
Okay.
Where there's more
I'm making
density.
a note.
We
not
wanna,
just
you know,
Nodal.
focus on areas, on density in certain areas, and you're right, our comprehensive plan lays out this vision
Mhm.
for rural preservation and open space. And you and I discussed this at a planning board meeting a couple of weeks ago.
New York is really unique, and when you touched on it a little bit, is in the agriculture industry specifically, we have so many advantages that other states do not have. You know, climate, the technology we use, climate's a huge one. Just things that agriculture does today to protect the soils, and the soil loss you hear about, you know, in the Midwest does not happen in New York because of what we do here.
Yeah.
And it is extremely concerning from the industry standpoint that the challenges we face to maintain efficiencies and stay viable in the state.
Indeed. Are you putting this on the planning board's agenda? Or can you come and speak to the planning board at some point about this?
I would love to. I believe the planning board is the 26th, is that correct? Yeah, I'm out of town that day, but I would be happy to meet with the planning board.
And maybe the following month.
We will be.
There will be others from the
All right.
committee.
Good to hear. Well, if one of you can, just come and, just kind of plant the seed that this is
Yeah.
because this is a planning move and also an agricultural move, but it's a blending of both committees' jurisdictions. Yeah. Well, it's-
We've been meeting with the ZAG meetings on a regular basis. So-
yeah, of course. Are you the rep? Who's the rep from?
Doug Anzac is the
Doug, okay,
ZAG.
yeah.
I don't think he's here at the moment.
Yeah. Are you going, Spring, are you going to the next SAG meeting?
Yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
at the next sec.
I have to miss it, but you'll be there.
As long as it's just open, can I just mention there are some problems with USDA maps, so I hope you, look at those and adjust things, because among other things, they downgrade the good soils if based on slope. And for grazing properties, that ends up, you know, being downgraded when it's actually very useful. And some of those slopes would be arable in some ways. But just to let you know, to look into those. And additionally, Town of Caroline, you might want to talk to them because they've been working on the same kind of problem. And they've been working with George France, who was helping them come up with maps that adjusted for the fact that USDA used a slope algorithm as part of their assessment of the quality of the soils. So you can have a very good soil that on a particular slope, they end up downgrading it on the map, but
Mhm.
it really isn't.
But
it
it's
really shouldn't be.
still an important soil to protect.
It's still an important soil. So just to let you guys know, if you're setting this up, and George has been doing this, and people in Town of Caroline have been working on this already.
And George worked on our last ag plan,
That's right.
of course. All right.
Anything else for me?
No, I think this is really, creative idea. And particularly if any other community is doing something like this, that would be helpful to know. So if they're doing this in, town of Hector or something, if you find out through your networks about a town that did something similar, that really helps. All right.
Thank you very much.
Announcements. Do we have announcements?
I don't.
Any announcements?
It's getting warmer out. The days are getting warmer.
Temporarily.
No warmer
Rick Young, you must have an announcement.
Yeah, not a whole lot.
Rick's in the house, that's my
Um, We're getting a little low on salt. It's getting hard to get it right now, but I've still got some. Hopefully winter's over before we run out. We've done a lot of truck repairs with the weather we've had the last couple of months. Working on a right-of-way permit fee structure as we speak. We're trying to put something like that together. I'll have a better outlay for you here probably next month. I'll get it to you ahead of the meeting. And other than that, that's all I got.
You had enough staff to run all these snow days?
Well, I've had a few that are out sick, and, yeah, we've
Been working long hours.
been taking the night and putting some of on days and the days and the nights, but, yeah, mainly it's weekends.
Yeah.
Every Friday it comes in, and we're working all weekend, so it's kind of, that's getting a little sensitive down there. But we'll get through it.
But you know it's coming every year, right?
Yeah. They just started used to spending so much time together. So, other than that, unless you guys have any questions, say it.
All right, thanks for your work.
Thank you.
Next, we have the planning department.
Yeah, so the, posted our monthly update, it's also on the web. These items are gonna come up on the agenda, so we might as well wait to discuss them then. The only thing I'll mention that's not on the update is the, Cayuga Watershed Intermunicipal Organization, is going around to all the various municipalities and doing presentations. And they asked if the town board would also entertain a presentation at a future meeting.
Sure. Hugo Watershed?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know those people.
Do you want to offer them like a choice of the two next month's meetings, or
Yeah.
put them on the first
Maybe.
meeting, or the second, or
Maybe.
preference?
What works for them?
Okay. Will do.
Yeah, I think we could do either. All right, should we go back to our local law before?
Okay.
You know, some folks are probably here to make sure that we do this, and we don't want to forget to do it. So let's pass a law, everyone. Go through this process. So this is the, what you have up right now is about the type 2 action, correct?
Correct, this is the resolution approving, there's one of the whereases, is talking about it being a type 2 under secret.
So this
Okay,
resolution.
but yeah, so I should put up the other one, you're right, first,
Yeah, thanks.
bring that up. Sorry about this delay. Okay, I'm not seeing it up on the web, so let's try to find it somewhere else.
You're not seeing it. I think I've got it.
Oh, here we go, okay. Okay, it should be coming up.
so first correction is that Dan Lamb offered instead of Jason Leifer. Other than that, it's looking good. Can you move up a little? Start at the beginning. Shall I read this? Would everyone like to hear it?
Hit
I
the
think.
microphone.
Yeah, I'll get the microphone going. Whereas a proposed law entitled a local law amending chapter 270 of the Town of Dryden Code to define data centers and cryptocurrency facilities and address related matters was presented to the town board at a meeting on January 15, 2026. Whereas the town board scheduled a public hearing for February 19, 2026 regarding said local law. Whereas notice of said public hearing was duly advertised in a local newspaper of the town and posted on the town clerk's signboard, and whereas the action required GML 239 review, and Tompkins County determined in their comment letter dated February 12, 2026, that the proposal will not have a significant countywide impact or intercommunity impact, and whereas the action was referred to the town planning board for review and recommendation, and their comments have been received and reviewed, and whereas a public hearing was held on February 19th regarding said proposed law, at which all interested parties appeared and were provided an opportunity to speak, and whereas the town board has reviewed the proposed local law in accordance to the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law, and implementing regulations of 6 New York Code Part 617, and whereas the proposed local law adds 4 new definitions within the town's zoning code concerning data centers and cryptocurrency facilities, and clarifies that when a proposed land use clearly falls within a category contained in all allowable use groups chart, or a use defined within the zoning code, such use shall not be interpreted as falling within another category or defined use. And whereas such additions to the zoning code are regulatory in nature, that solely add and clarify definitions within the zoning code and do not authorize, approve, or fund or indirectly undertake any physical development and or land use change. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Dryden, based upon the review and findings above, hereby determines that the proposed action is a type 2 action pursuant to 6 New York Code 617.5 33 and 37, and such will not result in any significant adverse environmental action impacts, and as a type 2 action, no further determination of environmental significance is required in connection therewith. And be it further reviewed, can you page down?
Oh, okay.
I'm on a roll here. Resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately. I move this.
Second.
Okay, Leo seconds.
Councilperson Vargas Mendez?
Yes, yes.
Yes. We are now the first town in New York to have a,
Oh, no,
You got one more
What was it?
official adoption.
The secret resolution.
oh, that, well, I had a 15-minute speech ready. I'll just postpone that. Is this it?
This is it. So it's many of the same, whereas is the resolved or different.
All right, let me get down to the resolves then. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby adopts said local law as local law, do we have a number?
It's 3.
Local law number 3 of 2026, entitled a local law amending chapter 270 of the town code to define data centers and cryptocurrency facilities and address related matters, a copy of which is attached hereto and made part hereof, and be it further resolved that the town clerk is and hereby that the town clerk be and hereby is directed to enter said local law into the minutes of this meeting and give due notice of the adoption of said local law to the Secretary of State, and be it further resolved that this resolution will take effect upon filing with the Department of State. Is there any more? Is that the end of it?
That's it.
Nope, that's it.
That's it. And so I move this. Leo will second.
Councilperson Vargas Mendez?
Yes, yes.
Yes. You can clap now. Now we are the first town in New York to ban data centers and crypto mining. A nice distinction. You know, we were the first to ban fracking, and we know what happened after that. And I'll just add, the state is now looking at banning data centers and crypto. And I have to think they are tuning into our meetings and taking their cues, once again, from the town of Dryden. There, I said it. All right, and I think David Makar is with us. Where is he? David.
Actually, I don't see him joined in.
Let
I
me
just
just-
want to say thank you to everybody who came supporting this. It means a lot.
It is helpful to know that this is something that matters so much to the community. Hi, David, comma, we're ready anytime, exclamation mark. You don't have to put that in the minutes.
Okay, I won't.
Sorry. 10 minutes early.
Well, that's Dryden for you.
Dan talked really fast.
So,
So I sent in a report for the month of January and then 3 resolutions for this evening. Do you want to display the,
I just made you co-host, so you can display.
it's right. All right, so, January, pretty busy month overall. Had a few customers, which is good. Worked a lot on construction, inventory purchasing, and it's across the board, very busy. We did have a road incident in the month of January. It was a day after the last couple of meetings. It was on January 16th. We had a truck go off the road over 56 here in Cotoma 3D, take out a utility pole that we were attached to. It happened at about 10:05 in the morning during a Dryden Fire Public Broadband 3D meeting. We did not lose our network at all, 100% uptime during that. However, NICEAG was offline for about 200 people for 4 hours. I was on site around 3 p.m. to check out the accident, called in Syracuse Utilities, our primary construction partner, and they came down from Syracuse, and once NICEAG replaced the pole, the new pole, they reattached our network to the new pole. Took about 2 hours, and NICEAG scanned every time, and the roads were back. Then they invoiced us, and then we tracked down the trucking company, and we're working with insurance to get that, the compensation for the accident. It was interesting, because like earlier that day or day before, we talked about doing a practice run of what happens if there is an emergency and you have to call in outside help. We sort of went right through it in a way that helped us understand what's going on with the network and our response times. Also our work with NICEAG, who owns the pole, as well as our partners with state police and sheriff's department due to the traffic in the future. So we're working our way through that, and it feels like we're doing it pretty well for the first actor. Okay. Do you see my screen?
yes, we can.
Thanks. All right, so we'll start some good news from January. The first reimbursement request out of the $11.6 million grant from New York State, the expansion for Dryden and Caroline, was submitted. We're working our way through them processing that reimbursement request. There'll be a few more rounds of back and forth as we answer all the questions they have about what we've done so far, what we spent money on. About 1.3 million of this goes to Dryden, about 600,000 goes to Caroline. And the next 3 reimbursement requests will probably happen in the late summer to early fall as we get some construction milestones. In total, when we finish this project by the end of the year, we will be requesting reimbursement totaling $11.6 million for the construction in Dryden and Caroline. Speaking of construction, all 3 areas of construction not only put out to bid, but awarded on a $3.3 million project. So pretty good on estimating the cost competitively with, other companies. But in the end, Sure Utilities came in with the lowest bid. As of February 1st, all of the material for the project has been ordered and is on the way. Some of the stuff is in like 3 to 5 week delivery times. Some things are in 10 to 12 week delivery times. And a few items are in the 14 to 24 week delivery time. It's not great, but we're looking at our schedule. The longest delivery times are for drop cables. We expect those to arrive around mid-August. However, that is to build out our supply of drop cables to do more installations in the second half of the year. We currently have, I believe as of the last conversion, 231 drop cables. So we should be good to go on drop cables for installs. We ordered the next batch. They were submitted for order last week. 24 weeks from then, we just around August 1st delivery, which sounds like it's going to be okay with where we're at. All highway permits are now submitted. They're working their way through. We have, as of February 1st, now 524 customers. We added a few more than that, but we lost a few. Mostly, I think 8 out of 10 times we lose someone because they just would not have, not because of the service. January also had our biggest single month of demand for service. We had 138 inbound requests in the month of January. That's both in Dryden and Caroline. And it's from both the tax letter that went out for Dryden and the tax letter that went out for Caroline. And finally, as of February 1st, we had 3 great candidates for account management. Interviewed each of them. Amanda and Matt Martine and I interviewed them in person. We're down to make some decisions about who we're going to choose. We should have a recommendation, I think, by next week. a lot of positive news from January. Before I jump on, any questions?
I have a quick question. So you have a $1.8 million reimbursement submitted. When do we hear back from New York State about granting the request?
So it's a lot of back and forth right now. We believe once we're finished that section of did we submit what they wanted, if they have any questions about it, you should be having that by the end of the month. And then probably 30 to 45 days after that. So mid-April.
Okay.
That's what we're hearing from the other MIP recipients. 30 to 45 days after you clear everything. It goes from this department that is analyzing and everything is up to what they're looking for, and it goes to loans and grants to cut the check.
Great.
Soon. All right, there was a Portland Standard article a few weeks ago after the Public Broadband Committee where I was quoted as saying, it's impossible. I believe what I said was it is not impossible. They published it is impossible. And I'll put it here in this meeting. It is possible for us to reach this goal. It is a lot of work, a lot of coordination between us, our engineering firm, Vantage, our construction partners, Sierra Utilities, the state, across the board. It's going to take a lot of work to do this right with Graybar, as well as Amanda and Matt in-house, to make sure everything is going and that things are being processed as quickly as they can. It is possible. There are challenges, no doubt, like any major construction project. This is a $12.6 million project for this expansion. So a lot of things we are challenged by, but we are working through each of these and finding pathways to get through these. I can go through all the detail, but at a high level, getting the poles ready for us takes time. And that includes replacing poles, includes doing some forestry work. It also includes moving everything's on existing poles so that there's room for us. There's some technology components which require a switch from SCADA to Calix. That should be all sorted out by May 1st. The Empire Overlash is the part of the network where we're part of the Empire Access, working on that. And finally, as I mentioned about inventory, we have everything ordered now, we're just waiting for everything to come in. So a lot of challenges, but we're working our way through it. I can dive deeper into these if you have any questions. days, 15 days to go for the end of the year. So 10 months to build about 140 miles, 142 miles of network. The work left to do has not changed in the last few months. However, we are making a lot of progress behind the scenes, getting things ready, inventory, permits, licenses, electrical make ready, getting the poles ready for us. And there is some construction going on, but not to the completed level that the state wants us to be, to check the box. Looking at the schedule, the Freeville expansion zone, which is northeast and northwest of Freeville, up to Carrillo Road, we think we'll be able to start getting customers in that section offline in June. Some of them may be almost ready to go in February, March, April, May, but because of some work on our server in the Freeville hop, we don't think it's going to go live until June, but then all 900 of those houses will be in the green zone by the end of July. Greater Dryden is everything else in Dryden. We're going to focus on the MIP funded areas first, but even with that, construction is going to start with this next week. Everywhere we can build, with everything we have available to build, that will continue throughout February all the way to September. With this still goal in place to reach all the locations in Dryden by the end of September. Finally, Caroline, we awarded the bid last week. We're going to contract negotiation signing with the recipient of the winner of the bid, Syracuse Utilities. That'll happen now until early March, and then we'll start to do some work in Caroline to get them ready to deploy and then build out all the rest of the year. I'll be finishing Caroline by about mid-November. So it's basically getting marshaling all the different parts of the project together, and by June 1st we can go all in and just build like crazy for about 6 months. This is our first look at this kind of a month-by-month chart. Any questions on where we are today in February and where we're heading to throughout the year?
No, that's a great chart, thank you.
I didn't do that.
That's a really great chart, it's very helpful, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you make your own charts, David?
It's a skill set.
There is possible within the greater Dryden area that some parts are going to go live, particularly around the village of Dryden, and the village of Dryden and north and west and east of the village of Dryden, where they'll be connecting to the Dryden Central Office POP, which is the one by the DPW. That particular POP has room in the server to connect more houses without upgrading the new server. So we'll be using that. We can most likely get the rest of the village of Dryden, as well as east to Virgil and south toward Dryden with what we have available today. So some of that might actually happen even earlier. We're going to pull as much as we can forward and with the calendar. Finally, last couple items. There is a new sign requirement as part of this MIP grant. We want new signs. Our current sign is on the right with the blue and the white. On the left is the Empire Access. They are also funded by this grant in another part of New York State. The key part is at the bottom of the sign. It has to say this is deployment of internet services supported by grant, awarded to, in our case, Dryden Fiber by New York State through the Technol program. We have to include that in any signs that we put out for the project, for them to pay us back for the marketing investment in the project. I doubt that people will read these signs as they're dropping down 13, but they're giving us, as we know, they're granting us $11.6 million. We're going to follow their rules. So we're going to do a design based on this new requirement.
That's fine. I understand that.
And finally, there's a couple things in our government relations and research I want to point out that are going on. First, there is an organization at Cornell, the Data for Good Policy. It's a new student organization of graduate students. They are doing a research project this semester on Dryden Fiber to help us out. We believe that Dan and I work with Deputy Supervisor Dan and I to think about marketing and pricing. So we're gonna lean into this group who's gonna volunteer to help us out between now and June. The second item in the government relations is this work we're trying to work through with the Assembly. It's the Municipal Broadband Financing Modernization Improvement Act. To that degree, Dan, the supervisor and I has also helped with this, in that the current bond guidelines or rules for fiber optic infrastructure are 10 years. Most, actually all of the manufacturers of material for this project are telling us the lifespan is in the 30 to 40 years. So we're requesting the state change the ability of local municipalities to use these bonds to change from 10 years up to 30 years. This will allow us to pay back over the course of the lifetime of the actual equipment and spread out the payments to make the entire project just a lot more viable in the next 10, 20, 30 years. To that degree, we have drafted some legislation and provided about 7 different pieces of information for the Assembly to use for background and knowledge information. On top of that, the Assembly came back and asked the town board to send a letter on behalf of the project, on behalf of this resolution, on behalf of this this law change. So that's one of the items on the resolutions tonight.
Dave, do you want to mention that?
For tonight's,
Dave,
update.
Dave,
Yeah.
that legislation has been introduced in the Assembly, and we have a Senate sponsor as well. I don't know if it's been introduced, but that was a development as of Monday this week, so it's kind of exciting.
Oh, it's really great to know our local representatives are looking out for us. This is going to help us as we work to finance and fund the project. It's an expensive project. We do have a customer base. We learned over the course of looking at our numbers from 2025 that there is revenue from customers that will more than pay for the monthly expenses, the installation costs, and long term, but it does go over the 10-year timeline of existing bonds. So this move to 30 years just makes it a lot easier for us to understand that we can do this, we can run this, and it will pay off in the timeline of the equipment that we're going to be using. That's the biggest piece of that. This is an infrastructure investment. Same way it would be for water, sewer, roads, culverts. Those bonds tend to be 15, 20, 30 years. The equipment, those materials last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. We feel that broadband infrastructure should be in the same category. This material is going to be out there for a long time. The bond should match that. Any questions on government relations and research? I want to thank Dan for not just being a part of the project committee, but also being very active outside of the on these other things with both the Cornell students helping us out and the state.
It's a good project. People want to help us.
I can't really hear what you guys say.
I was just adding that it's not hard to get assistance from students or our members of the state legislature because we're doing a good thing.
Yes, awesome. It also doesn't, I mean, our state assembly person has already recognized and stated that she is a driving fiber customer, so that also helps me to go to the floor in Albany and say, I'm also a customer. I have some resolutions, we get those now, or I'll take them up later.
I think we should get them done now while we have you.
Right. So there's 3. The first one is a resolution for IP address acquisition. We buy these at auction. We buy these, you do not lease these. We have been working with Scott Brennan, he owns Integrity. There are customer support and network support partner based out of Syracuse. His recommendation was we had already purchased 1,000 IP addresses. We've used about 550 of them expansion in Dryden would probably need 3,000 more. So we should buy at least 2,000 now, or up to 4,000. They come in groups of either 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, or 8,000. I think it's 2,000 or 4,000 is the best place for us to go right now to make an acquisition. The resolution that I have, that I shared with the board, has a not to exceed amount for the option, as well as a price per IP address. So those IP addresses.
I think my concern, Dave, is that the resolution that we link to on our website talks about the financing, the bonding issue. Was there an error? I texted you about this earlier.
Yeah, I believe you refreshed
There was
the
a wrong
website,
title
asked you
in
to
this
look
one.
into, but
Yeah,
But the other one's there somewhere.
so that's the wrong title that shows up when we hit that link.
Yeah, it should be 9A on the website now. If you refresh it, it'll bring you the new 9A resolution authorized trying to require IP addresses.
And they emailed the update as well a little while ago.
It was sent over earlier
She didn't fix it.
Wednesday, and then the third resolution came over with that full title,
This
so
is
the filings.
Oh, this is just a short one.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not fixed on our website. 9A still refers to the bonding.
But
leg-
Dave sent it in the email.
Just the website.
You sent this in an email earlier, okay?
I sent it back on Monday or Tuesday, or maybe last week. I don't know why I can see it from the top website.
Dave, I can see it on mine as well. I wonder if, Dan, maybe you could clear your cache on your computer, maybe? I wonder if that's causing an issue.
Well, you're welcome to share if you'd like, and I won't, slow things down by trying to share off my computer. Do you have it at your ready, Cassie?
Yes. I do too.
I just logged off
Sorry.
the same, went back on. How do I? It's still appearing wrong. I'm not on our website. I just went on it again.
Hmm.
No, I can log on fresh to Town of Dryden.
Is that big enough to read now?
Oh, there we go. All right. Simple and straightforward.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's on my website, right?
It is?
Yeah,
That's 9A?
yeah.
Great.
Sorry, man.
He found it.
It's right here, so I'll move this.
A second.
Councilperson Vargas Mendez.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And we'll let you know which direction we go with the acquisition. The second resolution is authorized Ryan Fiber to make emergency purchases. So as I said, there are some long lead times in acquiring material. What we've identified is that we have currently ordered over $1.5 million of material between Dryden and Caroline for the project. And we learned that Graybar, our material vendor, they acquire all the material on our behalf through state bid, they have the ability to get 7-day delivery on previously approved items at either a 0 or up to 20% price increase, and that can apply within 48 hours, which can shorten the acquiring time anywhere from 4 to 10 weeks. So if we order something today, they tell us it's going to be 14 weeks. It's possible that 2 weeks from now they say something came up, but it's only really available to you to buy it within 24 hours. And this is something that we've already had planned to purchase. We already have a resolution from the town board to go acquire. We already submitted the order. Just this is going to cut off 12 weeks of waiting for it to come into effect. We don't think we're going to use this very much. The last 2 times this came through Gray Bar was in early November and then early December. It wasn't something we needed, but it did come back from manufacturers saying, hey, we have extra materials. Do you want these? They would then call us, and the traditional format would be that we would have to go to the town board and ask for a change for that one item. But it has to be turned around really within 48 hours because another ISP might come in and make the acquisition before we acquire it. So what we put together here is we would never use this to acquire anything more than 20% of the previous identified purchase price and not to exceed a total sum of $100,000, which is less than 10% of the entirety of the material orders in order to save some time in the project. And finally, we would report back to the town board and just let the report on if we did exercise this.
So this is the provision for must-have equipment on a tight time frame.
There's a few key items, strand and fiber. Strand we're pretty good with, fiber has long lead times. Drop cables, we feel good about, we have those. And the last piece is some equipment for the electronics. And we're buying third party through Graybar, but there's long lead times. So sometimes those come up and you can say, we can get it through a week. If you want it, it might be 5% more. Or you can wait the 12 more weeks until it comes in on time.
Could you give us a very rough estimate of how often this would be used, or what percentage of the money that we plan to spend would be subject to this sort of provision?
From what Graybar told us, it happens between once every 30 and 45 days that they get an offer from a vendor that says, we have leftovers from our previous order, because they take these things at like size of 100,000, a certain customer needs 70,000, and we need 20,000. So like we have leftover 30,000, we need this 30,000 feet of fiber. Like we do, like well, you already ordered it, it's going to be coming into you in 12 weeks, but if you take this shipment now, they'll have it in hand in 7 weeks. So they'll be notifying Graybar. Graybar will look through our orders and say, hey, Brian, we have this opportunity to cut down the delivery rate, the delivery timeline by weeks. If they turn out that they say it'll be here in 2 weeks instead of 4 weeks, then it doesn't matter. That's not enough time. What we're going to do is use some of the contingency funding in the project to buy time back in the calendar.
This is fantastic. My only question, not on whether or not I vote, but just a general question is logistically, or do we have the space so if things do come in, we have a place to put it? Or is that not an issue?
Do we have space in the yard?
Yeah, so like if they're like, well, it happened to you in 2 days unexpectedly, is that gonna be a problem, or?
We are very fortunate to have a very engaged highway department. Yeah, well, of course, department.
Okay.
I can't
That's
see
great
there.
news.
His team has been helping out around the clock. We try to get every delivery on Monday through Thursday from 8 to 4, 8 to 3 when they pick third year. We had a delivery in January, came in, I think, 3:30 in the afternoon on a Thursday. And Matt and I went out, and a couple of Rick's team members came over and helped us out with a huge strand delivery, 19 giant heavy spindles. Because of that ability and their ability to help us out, we feel like we could take orders on a shorter term notice, especially if it means acquiring the stuff we need to build now and cutting down time.
This is great.
All right, I just want to try and get my question across again. would you say 10% of the material we need could be affected by this sort of provision? Or 50 or 5? My question is, how often will we be using this for the equipment we still need?
My guess is the offers will probably only come no more than once a month. And it's possible at that rate that every material that we ordered will arrive before we could exercise this. So very small percentage for a few items as they might come up. The Graybar is being very supportive of the project and trying to come up with creative ways to help us out on the timelines and the financing and particularly with some of these things, other projects are not 14 weeks, but 14 to 18 months out on material. We're not building backbone fiber networks, 144 count or greater. They're 18 months back on those items. So Graybar is like, we can get these things in 14 to 18 weeks. Once in a while, we're going to look out for you and say, hey, this can be here in 7 days. So we want to be able to leverage that if we can.
Okay. I'll move it.
One second.
Councilperson Vargas Mendez.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. The final resolution is regarding that legislation. Authorize support for bond modernization legislation. This is for Assembly Bill A10212 that extends the financing from 10 years to 30 years. I included the resolution to have much of what's in the letter, the town's records, and at the bottom of the document, I include the entirety of the draft letter to be signed by Town Supervisor Piper.
If
Also asked Town Supervisor Mark Whitmer from Carline to do a supporting letter, as well as the Tribe Public Project Committee that meets tomorrow. So potentially there'll be at least 3 letters submitted on that.
If he needs to edit that letter at all, by passing this resolution, do we restrict him from doing that?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, I'll move that.
Second.
Councilperson Vargas Mendez.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Finally, tomorrow is the Tribe Public Project Committee meeting. So the public at 10:30 a.m. by Zoom. We'll be looking at the 2026 Tribe Fiber budget with the broadband committee. We'll also be doing a look back on spending of the project from 2021 to 2025 to calibrate the 2026 budget, and then what we're looking for projections for 2027 to 2028. You're welcome to attend. We'll be recorded on Zoom and available later. Thank you.
Thank you, David. All right, we're joined by our county representative, Dan Wakeman, the Honorable. Would you entertain us with your county report? Or a briefing? Report sounds so formal.
Report sounds so formal. Yeah, well, I'm here and I'm sitting at the microphone and talking to you, right? So, hi.
Hi.
Let's see. As you know, the county has a 50% turnover in the legislature. 8 of the 16 new members are rookies. We are frankly still getting our feet underneath us. For example, I just had my first committee meeting last week, and this week, today actually, for facilities and infrastructure. So, as you know, we've had 3 full legislative meetings so far this year. The first meeting, of course, we supported the nurses at Cuba Medical Center in their efforts to unionize, which they then voted in. At our second meeting, the legislature voted to bill the DEC to review the water permit at the Lansing Power Plant site. And at this week's meeting, we had representatives from Avangrid and NICEAG and RG&E, if you will, to address the rate case that they have put forth to the Public Service Commission. As you well know, the rate case is pushing electric rates up even further than they already are. The electric rates that people are seeing in their bills right now are dramatically up from last year's rate case increase. And the county legislators gave the NYSEG people an earful. So that's kind of what's going on. Got questions?
Was this a hearing, or how did you interact with the,
It was a presentation followed by questions and answers.
so they presented,
They presented
and they took your questions?
They took our questions, and frankly, they listened to a lot of feedback. I mean, the first part of the presentation was all about what's your electric bill comprised of, right? And of course, we know that that's about 45% supply and about 40% delivery. Because you gotta keep the poles up in there and the transformers, right? And then, the last 15% is other charges and whatnot. And the first thing Deborah said was, you just spent 20 minutes to 30 minutes talking to us about supply, what drives the supply charge, and we're here to talk about your request for the delivery change. She was not happy about that.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's all the supplies' fault, right? Or it's all the other taxes and fees' fault.
So, anyway, they heard a lot from us. I don't know what's going to matter. Oh, the other thing is the what do we call it? The judge. There's a 3-letter acronym for it. The judge that's hearing the case has declined to have remote access for participants or parties. The county is a party in the case, but they're not allowed to do this remotely. They got to show up in person in Albany. So that's really kind of not happening, right? We weren't happy with that, and that's not anything that NYSEG could do for us, but we had at least expressed our interest to the court that that's kind of not helpful. That's what we got. What else?
Was there any hope? I mean, they're talking about, what, an 18% increase?
Oh, I think,
Is it more?
I'd have to double check. I don't have the information with me right now. I want to say it's 39.
Twice that.
Yeah.
So
They just had one. They had one about a year ago.
Yeah.
That was the 18, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a little one for gas too, but it's not as big as the electric one. And, one of the things that Irene Weiser spoke at length about, because she's very familiar with this, and essentially it boils down to what I'm going to paraphrase here is kindly as deferred maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When it becomes deferred maintenance, then it might wind up being a capital project. So, yeah. Anyway, that's. You can go if you're interested. Go look at the video, or I can summarize it if you want me to go. Maybe go find it. But Irene had a pretty significant and very detailed response. It wasn't a question and answer. It wasn't a question. It was more a litany of statements.
Mhm.
Was there any, sorry, regarding the deferred maintenance on that, is there any input about the fact that it used to be state-owned, so the money went to deferred maintenance, but now it's a public stock, and so money goes to the
I don't think that
shareholders
was-
rather than actually getting put back into the system?
Yeah, I don't think NYSEG was a public utility.
Years and years and years ago.
Beyond my knowledge, I do not know. I do not know, Spring. Sorry. There was certainly some discussion about money that's going to stockholders and executives. That was brought up.
I do want to mention to you, I think since we last spoke about TCOG, Tompkins County Council of Government,
Yeah.
a lot of the support and administrative help has shifted to the county administrator's office, of course, at Quincy, and he's been fantastic. And so TCOG is not working out of the county legislative chambers anymore. We're now 100% online, which suits a lot of our members and our guests better. And Corsa and his staff have been really great at helping me in my role as co-chair and the other co-chair. And I think it's working seamlessly. So I just want to let you know that that's happening.
Great.
TCOG remains strong, and Deborah and Shauna attend. You're welcome to attend, of course, anytime you can. But we plan on continuing to have some important things to talk about: housing and data centers and EMS reform. It's another thing that we'll
Right.
continue working with you folks on.
Yeah, I know there was some discussion about whether or not people need to be in person for that, so. It is, you're telling me it is fully online now.
Easy to attend, because with TCOG we're all over the county, and so it's kind of hard for folks in Trumansburg or Newfield or I live close to McLean and
Yeah.
down.
Well, I mean, that's true for the legislature too,
But you sign up for that. All right.
Anything else? All right, I have here, this is from me in my official role as a legislator, a letter to Jason in support of the rail trail grant. I was going to mail it, but I realized, hey, I'm sitting in your building, can I leave it with you?
Please do.
Sure.
You probably best give it to Ray. This is our TAP grant that we're putting.
Yes.
Thanks for working right on that.
Thank you.
That's coming up on the agenda. All right, getting back to the agenda. Ray, are you able to put resolutions up? 'Cause I appear to be condemned.
I think I can put these up for, you're doing 11A here.
Maybe
Yep.
that hasn't been changed around. It might still work. You quit your.
So that is the cover letter.
For the court audit.
Yeah.
So on February 12th, the Finance Committee, consisting of Leonardo and myself, did our annual internal court audit. We met with the judge and the court clerks, reviewed all their paperwork, their books, everything is in order. So we have a resolution to accept the court audit for 2026, and I'll make that motion. Yeah.
Councilperson Vargas Mendez.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. And you've got the rail trail resolution up now?
Yep.
All right, so this is for a new transportation alternative program grant application for phase 3 of the Dryden Rail Trail to complete certain sections of the rail trail, specifically from the Route 13 bridge to Route 366, and then connecting the villages with a crushed stone ADA accessible surface. I'm just going over the highlights of this and reducing the steepness of the ramp at George Road to make that more ADA accessible, and I believe I'm replacing a bridge. Radium, is that in here?
Repair of Egypt Creek.
Egypt Creek, that's the one I was looking for. So it is a grant, and we are working on that ongoing, and it's blank right now because we needed a fresh estimate, and the number is 3.8 million that this application will be for. And the resolve is that the town, Dryden, will backstop the local match, which we plan on supplanted with various grants like we had before from nonprofits and perhaps the legislators to contribute, and we've had a lot of success at that. But since this project is really core to our mission as a town, the town may commit some money as well to this. So.
And the local town workforce will go significantly towards the match also.
So our own Department of Public Works will be able to do work that counts towards the local match, the 20% local match of a grant like this. So I'd like to move this.
Second.
Great.
Who said that?
Me.
You. Thank you. Councilperson Vargas Mendez?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay, this next one is the one you've been working on, Christina?
Yeah, Jason and I talked about it when we were both at the conference. The town of Cincinnatus passed this resolution, jumping on the NYSEG bandwagon. They passed it, and then they made their resolution available to all the municipalities, and I think quite a few are actually gonna pass it here in the next month or two. So basically, it's just, kind of in support of what the county just is doing with NYSEG and the state. I saw in the news that the assembly is asking the governor to step in and just try to combat the rate hikes. So this is our resolution urging the state to do the same.
All right, somebody,
I changed the resolution so it does say county government, not
yeah,
Cincinnatus.
great, Ray, you've got it, you beat me to it. So here's the revised resolution, and thank you for working on this. I'm sure this is something that everyone is feeling. The new rates notwithstanding, but the current rates are bad enough. I think we all just got our electric bills, and yeah,
I think it's going to send some families to seek help
I don't
where
know.
before they've been able to get by.
It's a shock to the system.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's asking a lot of everyone to be able to have that much disposable income.
So I'll move this.
Are there things you want to highlight from it? So anything more than? So we're urging the State Public Commission to conduct a thorough and immediate review of electric delivery charges, rate increases, and cost recovery practices applicable in the NYSEG. I think that's a key component.
Yeah, and to not just automatically approve future rate increases until they do so.
Yeah, so you moved it.
Mhm.
I'll second it.
Councilperson Vargas Mendez?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. The next is a volunteer board application for the rail trail. Seems like we approved one just last week. Everyone wants to be on the rail trail. I think this applicant is exciting because she's on the younger side, in high school, I believe. And that's great. So I'd be happy to move Ava Adams' application so she can join the Rail Trail Task Force.
I'll second.
Councilperson Vargas Mendez?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I see Alice is on there too. Hi, Alice.
Alice, you heard this. Will you let her know the good news?
Yes, I don't believe we have any vacancies right at the moment. We have a cap of 11 members and we're full, but we'd be happy to talk with this person, and if we have a vacancy, have her join us, or if the board would like to enable us to have more than 11 members on the task force, that would be great too.
Okay. Guess, somehow that slipped through the net. Got on the agenda. All right. Well,
I haven't seen this application, I haven't seen this application myself.
does anyone know how it ended up on our agenda?
Nope.
Okay. Cassie?
I saw her application, but.
It came in from Bambi, and when Jason reviewed the agenda, he just agreed with the agenda. Hopefully, there was a vacancy.
Okay, well, she's welcome to attend, as Alice said, right?
Yes.
She just can't vote.
Do we need to,
She's probably used to that already as a high school student.
Do you want to rescind the application, the resolution?
Yeah, we have to rescind the approval.
Yeah.
So I'll move to rescind.
a second?
Okay. Councilperson Vargas Mendez.
Yep.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
sorry, Eva.
That was quick.
I don't think she's online. Occasionally, we make a mistake.
Yeah, the next item we're gonna breeze through also because they did not get, application materials to modify their application, so there's not gonna be a introduction for 53 Pinckney Road tonight.
Okay.
Well, that's clarifying.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to advisory board updates. Anything going on with affordable housing? Leo?
We approve the resolution that, with comments, really, that we sent to the planning board, the town, and the other committees as well. I can't remember all of them. Anyway, basically, I don't know whether we can discuss this when it's still not in our discussion. But anyway, it's a resolution that goes into the issue of developing housing, a unique area, natural areas.
Okay.
And that we supported both cluster housing development on those particular areas where it is possible to develop, but also we support the maximum protection and preservation of the uniqueness of that natural reservoir.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay, thank you. Anything from conservation?
Couple of things. One is just an FYI that Ann Clark, if she hasn't submitted her letter already, is gonna be sending us a letter that she's gonna be stepping down from the Wasco Lake Watershed Inspection Protection Division. And they're looking at other people to approach that may be a good person to take on that role. The topic also came up, we had a high school student who's interested in being on the conservation board, but we too have no vacancies. So discussed looking if we could develop a liaison, have a liaison from the high school sustainability committee, and maybe put an olive branch out there that way to incorporate, while not being a member, be a liaison relationship. Lots of discussion on Ed Howe Road, and property out there that has been sold, and what may happen with that. It ties into the agriculture concerns as well, and UNAs and a number of other things. So no action to take at this time, but people there's a lot of sensitivity to that land up there and its use in the future.
Yes, there is.
So, there is the update.
Do you have anything to add about planning? Because I was not able to attend. Either you or Jason.
It was Jason who
Okay.
attended the last one, and then I'll attend all the ones going forward.
Okay.
I was on a bus.
Anything earth-shattering happening at the planning
No,
board
there-
that Jason would have
No
reported?
major projects coming down the road.
Okay. So the next committee is climate action.
Yeah, climate action, we worked on like a little work plan, and then we're dividing all the great ideas that we have into different little subgroups, so we're still working on that. Maria is working on the next repair cafe, which will be in April at the new Dryden Center for Community. They're also looking into a couple of programs that would kind of complement the repair cafes or the electronic waste and use paint drop-off sites. So that's something we're looking into. That's it.
Good. And then from the rail trail, we've had a busy month, haven't we, Alice Green? You know, we got a lot of press, and, well, not a lot, but enough, you know, for our contract award announcement that the Department of Transportation allowed us to make this announcement and award the contract for the building of the pedestrian bridge. This is a almost $3.1 million project, and we were pretty excited with this particular contractor because he was about $500,000 more affordable than the alternative. So pretty happy with the selection, and that work can begin this spring with the possibility of finishing by the end of the year or early in 2027. We're all still very thrilled about that. We worked a lot on this TAP grant application that we just passed a resolution on. There's a lot of good work going on with the project subcommittee, and the team working to get that grant in order has done amazing work. And there remains a commitment to name that bridge after a person who was unwavering in their vision for doing a bridge, not a tunnel or at-grade crossing. So I think there remains a strong consensus from the Rail Trail Task Force, and I think on this board as well, to name it after Bob Beck. And we'll want to do that at probably the grand opening. But we could do that at another date, but it might be a nice time to do it, to name it after Bob Beck. But that's on a recommendation from the Rail Trail Task Force that we welcome. And as you know, it's got a full roster of members, the Rail Trail Task Force, which is always a good sign. What I miss, Alice? Anything in particular?
Did you ask me if there's anything else?
Yeah, did I miss anything?
We are also building a second bridge behind NYSEG, east of Pinckney Road, with some grants from Cornell, the Triad Foundation, and Finger Lakes Runners Club. That'll replace a washed-out bridge that it was completely gone. We got permission from the DEC to do that. We'll be using DPW labor and some student labor. The bridge was also designed by students, but approved by a professional engineer. So 2 bridges in 2026.
Yes, designed by engineering students, not, I don't know, art students. We love the art students, but better to have it designed by engineering students, led by Charlie Troutman. And
yes.
We're very grateful. It's going to be a beautiful bridge. So. All right, the last 2 committees are Jason's, and as we know, he's not here, so I'll hold off on those reports. Any other items or citizen privileges that want to be exercised? Oh, yeah, we have somebody here.
Name is Pete Parks, live on line 747 North Wood Road. I'm interested in, I was here last meeting, I was trying to put in a crematorium.
Right.
Started with the process, kind of came in, feel it out, see what people thought, and some local veterinary clinics. They're definitely on board. We don't have anything in this area. The area surrounds 13 vet clinics, including Cornell. Our closest crematorium is Candor. We also have Auburn. I was told that it was a service business. That's what we were trying to classify it as. But they told us that, or Gina, I should say, stated that that wasn't the case. So I guess I'm just trying to figure out my next step.
So Regina has declared.
The request was that you give us a good definition of what exactly the impacts of that crematorium would be, so we could evaluate it. And then if it doesn't fit into one of our relevant uses, then it's perfect timing for the zoning advisory group to look at if we wanted to add that to allowable use, because there's a rewrite of zoning going on right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was just, so I went out, I went ahead, got a DBA, kind of went a little ahead of the game. And then when she informed me that I asked her for the application process, and she had said that it was gonna be denied. So, didn't quite wanna go and spend the $695 up front without knowing where I stand.
So she probably was referring to going before the ZBA for a variance, for a use variance.
Okay.
And those are very difficult to get, so probably would be denied by the ZBA.
Okay.
Because you have to show that there's no other feasible use of the property.
Okay.
So that was the fee that you were probably talking about.
Yeah, I was kind of confused, I really was. When I came in here last time, they said it was definitely not out of the question. So I was like, well, okay, then let's proceed forward. And I got my application right here. But like I said, I didn't want to go ahead and proceed with it if I was just going to be denied. So I figured I would come tonight and ask if it was a possibility, if I should proceed forward, or if it's something I should just close the door and go to another county.
Okay, well, I think you were before the planning board before, not the town board here. So the
I
planning,
came to the last one, and I talked to, I can't remember his name, but he said definitely wasn't another question, so I was like, okay, I think I should move forward, but at this point, I'm kind of lost on if I should move forward.
okay, well, we can talk more after the meeting, and I can get you squared away as to exactly what your next option is.
Okay, thank you very, very much, I really appreciate it, guys.
So would this be on Wood Road?
Yes,
Okay.
it would be on 747 Oakwood Road. My house is right next door. It was on my parents' property. They owned it for 50 years. I was born and raised there. I also contribute to Urban Funeral Home. I help out Mark Webb. I'm looking to get me in funeral director school.
Okay.
So this is just something I'm trying to help the community out with. We really don't have anything here to help people. And animals are definitely family. I mean,
So this would just be for animals? okay.
Just animals.
Got it, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. With that, I move to adjourn.
Second?
Thank you.